Happy Saturday. Happy 420 for those of you that celebrate and partake in that celebratory experience. It's April 20th. Tonight, we're going to be talking about whether or not you can rekindle a past romance. And I want to talk about this because I've seen a lot of shows. There were some shows on the OWN network. There was some stuff that was on TV1, a few things that I saw on YouTube, and it was all centered around people rekindling a past romance. Maybe they were high school sweethearts. Maybe it was their first marriage, and for whatever reason, things didn't work out. They went their separate ways, but later on in their life, they found their way back to that person. They found their way back to each other and they got the romance back and are back, like they never left, better than ever. So I wanted to know your thoughts on that. If you think it's possible to rekindle a past romance. And when I was thinking about this topic, it's not because there's no one in my mind at this point where I'd be like, oh, yeah, like if I had the chance to do it over again with them, I would do it. So let me just make that clear.
I don't want to shoot myself in the foot with this one, but hey, everybody, welcome back to Real Chill Conversations. I want to say that. Uh, yeah, I think it's possible. I really do. Don't get me wrong. I think it's possible. I think you have to have a lot of time in your hands to be able to do something like that, to come back around and be able to spark something up with your ex. And then I think that you're really going to have to be focused on the things of why you got together in the first place.
Yeah.
To me, that's a very important thing because a lot of people try to rekindle situations and relationships based on what hurt them
Yeah.
and everything bad that happened.
Yes.
But what about the good things though?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're going to have to put in it.
Right. And that's what
You're
you,
going to have to put in the good things of why you fell in love with this person. Why do you want to rekindle things with this person? So instead of thinking about the negative, you're going to have to be thinking about the positive. I think that is a very important factor. And it will also need attention, um, because your energy is going to be needed. So the more attention that you put into it, the more energy you're going to reciprocate from that person. I feel that's too. And get to know them. Like,
because people,
fall in love with them again for the new person they are, not for the old person they were.
exactly. And I think that's where some people get caught up in the situation is, they think about the person where they first fell in love with them. And then, that kind of triggers the excitement and they get real happy about it and giddy about it and think about, those feelings that they had at that time. But that might be the initial, attraction, the initial thing that may have you considering rekindling a romance with someone. But like you said, I think you have to get to know them. You have to fall in love with them all over again for who they are at this given moment, not who they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, however long it's been. So, with that being said, I think there's also, something, to be said about, bonds. And when you are with someone and you are giving your time and attention and energy, as you said, to that person, your love, your commitment, your focus, dedication, all of that, you create a bond with, with that person. And I can see how, in a lot of the situations that I watched and I read about and listened to, I could see how people have found their way back to each other. And maybe, it's a sign that you can actually get through a relationship and not necessarily have to take that break if you're willing to do the work all the while you're in the relationship and do the growth and make the changes and make the adjustments. And then you'll never have to, end the relationship in the first place because for whatever reason it didn't work out. But here you are 10 years later, 15 years later, 5 years later saying, hey, let me think about getting back with this person again. So,
I feel like most of us do that. I feel like most of us, whether we see it or not, we like, if it's something we don't like in a relationship, if it's an energy that we're not taking in, we put a pause to it. That's still rekindling when you come back.
like,
So, a lot of us do that. You want to put a pause into something until you see that action, until you see what you're trying to see in the relationship, the growth that you're supposed to be a teammate in the relationship. Like if you're literally, you know, not a team and you're looking at each other as an opponent, then that's going to be very hard for you to, get things straight back up with that person. But can't nobody say that you ain't even think about it. I mean, yeah, I feel like if you were just totally being abused and this, that, and the other, then that's, a different story. But I feel like most of us have similar issues of what's going on in the relationship that we want for it to change. And then you come back around to that same person, expecting for it to be different. So, like I said, you're going to have to put the work in because you can't just rekindle with somebody and then you can't just rekindle and bring all the old shit up.
thank
This is a new person that you're falling in love with. This is a new person that you're willing to go back to, and y'all are willing to start a new life together. So you're gonna have to find those ways.
glad you said that because I think that that's very, 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 very important. And, you have to remember that, you know, what you put out in a situation, the energy that you give out in most cases, in any scenario, if relationships included, is the energy that you'll get back. So, not that there's not situations where you've given your all and the other person is, not really putting in that much effort. And so, you're tired of it, you're done, whatever, you're ready to move on. But let's say that person, comes back around and reaches out to you and y'all start talking, having conversations, and they're able to take accountability for the things that they didn't do and that they didn't appreciate in the relationship. And then they show you with their actions, not with their words, but their actions and their behaviors that they have changed. Then I think that gives you a better opportunity to really make that consideration and then make the decision as to whether or not you want to proceed or not. Because for me, I would definitely want to know that whatever had gone wrong and whatever the reason was that we decided to end things, that we had gotten past that and that the same issues weren't going to come up again, giving it another shot.
And I know some people want to say, should I go back? You got that thinking in your head. It's just like, should I not? One side is saying, should I? Yes. And the other one saying no. But understand that you first answer this question: what were your problems?
Yeah,
Okay. You have to answer that question because you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created the problems. So
right.
therefore, you have to be open to a new way of thinking. Okay? You have to. You have to when you're trying to build this back up because you have to think about what created it. And we cannot always just blame the other persons. We got to blame ourselves too. Okay? Accountability is the key. Um you have some people been together for 13 plus years. That is more than just an ex. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, I call it ex someone I've been with a year, less than a year. You know what I'm saying? Like that. But if you have history with a person, then that's different. I
That,
definitely do feel like that is more than an ex. You done build a life with this person. Uh, y'all may have a lot of things in the pot.
yeah.
So it's not just passive. It requires more, and it also, but you have to be accountable for you, and not just that. You don't have to be accountable for them, you have to be accountable for you. And I feel like a lot of people dismiss themselves in situations because they don't want to be looked at as the bad person, but no one is saying that you're the bad person.
Right.
It just take a lot of balls to admit that you did something wrong too. So again, you don't want to focus on the negative, but you want to focus on the positive. And I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's absolutely. I remember watching. I don't remember if it was like maybe it was 2 ago, 2 seasons ago on the Real Housewives of Potomac. Housewife Giselle Bryant was married to Pastor Jamal Bryant, who helms a really large church here in Atlanta. But she now lives in Maryland, with her kids. One of the kids has just gone to college, one goes to college next year. And then, she's going to be an empty nester. But 2 seasons ago, she started her ex husband again. And the kids wasn't for it because there was so much trauma and drama that happens in their marriage and in that household between the two of them that the kids remembered. They weren't for their mom, going back with their dad. And these are 3 girls, right? um and even, her friends were questioning it. Like everyone in her life, including her parents, were questioning why she was going to dare go back to that man after all the things that he had put her through. And the things that he put her through allegedly was lots of infidelity and potentially fathering a child with another woman during their marriage. All allegedly. Okay. So for whatever reason, he made a decision and they got divorced and had been divorced for some time because they were showing her on the show, which has been on, I want to say, maybe 8 seasons now. They've shown her in different relationships with different boyfriends, this and that. And it's like she went from having this one boyfriend, and then they showed, scenes and clips of her like sneaking on the phone and kind of like giggling and on the phone in her.
but see, I think that is more like she was probably feeding the kids something. At the end of the day, the kids shouldn't even have no like, unless it was like total abuse, like when somebody putting hands on you, like that's completely different. But if the kids even knew about that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still feel like in a way somebody was feeding the kids something, and that didn't have anything to do with the kids.
Right. I think the kids had an awareness that it was alleged, and there was rumors going around that he had cheated on their mom. And
Yeah, but I mean that's grown up stuff.
exactly, exactly. But they made the kids like a huge part of like the storyline, and it was just interesting because, it's like every time she was going to meet up with their father, or she was coming to Atlanta to, spend time with him here, or he was going to Maryland to spend time, with her there, they always were getting the reactions of the kids, and the kids were do their confessionals, and it's like they weren't for it. And
I'm not gonna say the kids didn't feel some type of way about it, but I'm saying that had to be more of instilled. And what we don't understand, y'all, that when we go through things in our personal life and we're steadily talking about it in front of our kids and showing all those emotions like hatred, resentment in front of our kids towards the other person, that kind of make the kids feel a certain way. Because let's get it together, they kids, they don't know.
they don't
They
know,
don't know what's going on. They know, but they don't understand.
understand, and
So we have to be careful on how we um handle things in front of our kids.
yeah, for
That go for boyfriend, mother, daddy, granddaddy, grandma, because you will actually put something in the kids towards the other person and stuff like that. And it may not have even been your intention, but yeah, they end up like, looking at you as a victim and saying, hey, no, I don't want this to happen, when it's not even kids' business anyway.
right. I agree. It's not the kids' business. The kids shouldn't be involved. You definitely need to leave the kids out of it. I even think that, if you are on the fence about whether or not you're going to rekindle the relationship or not, like that's not even something that you should be discussing, with your kids. I'm an adult.
I
I'm a,
think that other person should be discussing with the kids if they want to get back with you. I do feel like that because they're coming into y'all space,
right, right.
right? So that is needed, but I just don't agree with kids getting too involved and having a say so between two grown-ups, because I feel like sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us and we don't think about it and we do it in front of the kids, that they just be like, oh, I don't want to see my mama go through that. Oh, I don't want to see my daddy go through that ever again. So now they hold a resentment for the next person. And I don't think that's fair,
I,
because just because that person said, oh, I went through this, that, and the other with this man or this woman, the kids don't know that.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's important, especially if it was a situation where it was a long-term relationship and you all do have kids together, that the other person does acknowledge, to the kids, I know that I've made some mistakes. I've done, you don't necessarily have to go into specific,
No, you don't.
acknowledge that, where you fell short in the situation, and that you are, interested in trying to get back with, their mom. And I think that goes a long way. I think that shows a lot of respect. And I think it shows a lot of growth and a lot of maturity, because it takes a lot of growth and maturity to admit that you've made mistakes and that you've done things wrong. But I think, in situations where it's been a whole family and you have built a whole life together and been on that whole life for years and years and years, and that's all anybody knows, nobody knows it any other way until things change. And now it's like, well, you got mom over here, and then you got dad over here, and we're just doing our co parenting thing. And, that's kind of it.
And
So,
you have to also understand, I think people need to understand the things of why people fall apart. It may even be the biggest deal in the world. Some of these things are so simple, but instead of us fixing it, we feel like walking away is the best choice. For example, most people fall apart because of what? You outgrow each other. You're no longer a team. You don't want to be a team.
yeah.
I'm on your team. Communication, talking, you know what I'm saying? Letting you know I'm not your opponent. I'm here. Let's talk about it. Let's see how we can fix this. So being on the same team lowered the pressure on one another,
Yeah.
because we want to always feel like, oh, he ain't on my team. He always got something to say about this, that, and the other. But how you know he don't feel the same way?
Right.
So
Exactly.
we always seem so selfish on looking at, oh, he's not considering my feelings. Oh, he doesn't see what I'm going through. But hey, do we see what they're going through? Are we considering their feelings? Are they supposed to always cater to our feelings? That's the point.
And
You
that,
can't just look at the other person. You got to look at yourself. Because whether we like it or not, we mess up too. And I don't care who say, oh, no, no, we do. We do mess up too. And show them it's okay to be in the same team.
yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And
I,
some people can't do that.
I mean, I think that's a good thing for,
Some people can't do that. Some people ego too up high.
and
Too, ooh, I'm too good for that. Too good for what? We're all human.
humble yourself. You've got to humble yourself, in situations. And I think that that's a lot, like what you were saying, a lot of the contributing factors to why things, start falling apart. And yes, it is possible to outgrow a person. You are no longer have the same goals. You don't have the same
But
idea.
you're not supposed to.
Yep, you don't.
That's the thing. You're supposed to be on the same team. But because you're too, for some reason, and don't get me wrong, we don't only outgrow partners, we outgrow friends, we outgrow many people. But let's be for real. Why do we outgrow these people and we don't talk to them again?
I mean, there's a lot of reasons that go into it, but a lot of times, when you don't feel like you're supported by the people that you're pouring your energy and your time into, then it's like, why am I even
But they may feel the same way. They may feel like I'm not being supported by this person. They're not pouring into me.
right? But that's where
So how do you know you're right from them?
you don't, unless you're okay, hey, I'm feeling like you're not really supporting me, you're not really there for me when I need you, and et cetera, et cetera. And then the other person can speak up and say, oh, I feel the same way. Or they can say, oh, I didn't realize that I
Communication.
didn't
It
realize.
goes back to communication.
'Cause sometimes people are doing things and they're not even aware that they're doing it. And if you don't say anything to them about it, then they're not really ever going to be aware of it.
And I'm one of those people. Sometimes I do things I'm not aware that I'm doing, but I need you to talk to me. I
Right,
need you to lay it down for me.
right,
Because if you don't, I'm going to run with it.
right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it is what I say it is.
Yeah.
And that's how many people are. It got to be their way or no way. And but you are never willing to look out at many people. I ain't gonna say everybody, but you're not willing to look out the box and look at yourself and see what you're doing. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not right
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not.
Mm,
So if I mean, and it's not even about being right or wrong. It's about having your own opinion about life.
right. And being able to understand that people can have different opinions and still be in relationships and can,
And in friendships,
and all of that, because not, you don't want to be surrounded by yes people that are just going to tell you yes, 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 you're right, 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 because that's not helping you. That's not going to help you grow. That's not going to help you develop. That's not going to help you get to where you want to be if you're just surrounded by people that want to tell you yes all the time. You need to have people in your life that are capable of being able to let you know when they think that there's something that's going on with you, or
but most of us get mad at that. How dare you?
and
How dare you say How dare you?
I understand, people can get easily offended. They can feel a certain way. They can take things, very personally and not look at it from, an abstract, situation, or they want to take it so literally or to heart. But if I'm not like, if especially in relationships, but also in my friendships, like I try to be there for my friends in the way that I would want them to. I try to be there for them in the way I would be there for them. And that means showing up and being present and being able to communicate without fear of negative repercussion, that you're going to get mad at me at what I say. And it's like, if I hurt your feelings or I upset you, it's not an intentional thing, honey. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm not trying to make you upset. I'm just trying to let you know that this is what I'm seeing, and I'm concerned. So I would rather have that in my life than somebody that just went through our entire friendship of adulthood telling me that I was perfect and I didn't need to change or fix a thing, because I know that's not true. I'm not perfect. There's plenty that I need to fix. There's plenty that I need to work on. There's plenty of times where I've had a reaction or a response in my relationship that wasn't warranted. It was unnecessary. And I can only blame myself for that. And I have to acknowledge, hey, I was wrong for that. I shouldn't have gotten upset when you said X, Y, and Z. Like, I shouldn't have gotten mad when you said X, Y, and Z. So, it's really up to the person, and what kind of life do you want to lead. I want to lead a life of being able to be happy. I want to be successful. I want to be on a team with a team player. I want to surround myself with good people, like minded people. We don't all have to have the same opinions on everything, but like minded, and how we are able to take accountability and take inventory of our actions and our behaviors and the things that we say. So, I've noticed, the older that I've gotten, the smaller my circle has become. In my 20s, it was like 18, 20 of us that were running around, hanging out, going out, doing this, doing that, meeting up, linking up, da 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 da. And slowly but surely, people just start falling out the group, falling out the way for one reason or other. Some of
And
it.
sometimes people fall off the group and stuff like that because sometimes they have stuff going on in their own lives. It don't even be about you. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people, I don't know if it's this a ego thing, I don't know. But instead of us checking on people, it's like, oh well, they don't want to talk anymore. So okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? And we let it go, and it's cool. But you don't know. Like you don't know, you really don't know. Cuz unless that person tell you, you don't know.
Right.
I try to look at the good in people because I feel like we all got flaws.
Yes, we do.
I got flaws. I can't sit up here and tell you I'm perfect. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of ways that I need to fix.
Mm.
But that's me personally. So I try not to judge. I don't do that because I have an open mind. Like my mind now, catch me back in the day, I went the same way.
Right.
No, I was like, no, you like this, you scratched out. Like totally. But nowadays I am more open because I understand that everybody is not like me. And I'm not like everybody.
Mm.
So just because of that, don't make me right and it don't make them wrong. And it don't make them right and it don't make me wrong. So if you want to rekindle, fall in love with the new person. Don't fall in love with the old person. Cause then you ain't gonna have that open You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to experience that new love.
Right. You're just basically backtracking, to the past. And so much happens from the past, to the present. People can change in a year. Imagine 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of not being in a person life the way that you used to be when they were so important to you and such an important part of your life, and it not working out with that person, and then having the opportunity to try again, but looking at it from the perspective of I need to love the new person, not who I initially, fell hell over, head over heels for back in the day for whatever reason, because you're not the same, and they're not the same, and if you are trying to go off of the past connection, both of you are going to be disappointed because both of you are different.
Yeah. And you don't want to be keep bringing old shit up. Like that's the worst shit that you could ever do. Try to rekindle your shit with somebody else, and then boom, you still talking about the shit that made y'all.
Break up in the first place.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't gonna work. So think about positivity. Think about all the love you can put into it and all the new opportunities that you got, and you take it from there. If it don't work, it just doesn't work. But if it works, then it worked. But you don't want to keep bringing up the same thing over and over again. um it's just, it's not gonna be worth it, and you'll be wasting your time, and that person will be wasting their time. And
Uh,
then two, counseling, like me and Brenda always say, therapy,
yeah,
that is perfect for rekindling.
yeah,
Because if you're about to step in this new relationship with somebody, why not get a professional, you know what I'm saying, to help y'all to do that?
help you.
And I don't say don't do it. Like I said, do it if you want to, it's up to you.
It
I
is.
think I and people do it all the time. Even people who are married. Oh, don't talk to me today. They have their long days of not talking to each other, and they boom, they circle back around. That's rekindling. So, okay. Or you put them out for a couple of days, then you let them back in. That is rekindling.
Not talking today, we didn't talk tomorrow, we didn't talk the day after that, all of a sudden now you want to take me to dinner, be talking, and you back in the house.
Look, he had been my ex for 15 times already. But it happens.
Because
It
we
happens. It's normal part of life. Um, you should just know how to cope with it and make changes.
yeah,
Make changes because I think the most part is people are scared to change themselves. They feel like, oh, I shouldn't be able to change myself because I don't want to be a whole completely fake person. No, it's not even about being fake. It's about accepting that something is wrong,
yeah,
taking accountability for it, and getting some help.
definitely.
Not for just that one person, but anybody else. You know what I'm saying? You should want to change your bad behaviors, because if not, you might just end up by yourself
Exactly.
for the rest of your life.
Exactly. And that's gonna be a lonely life, having
I'm just saying.
having these short-lived, flings that last for a couple of weeks, and maybe a month or two, and then it fizzles out, and then you meet somebody else, and then you do the same thing over again, but you're still doing the same old shit and not getting any kind of different response. So I've been with 15 different people at this point, and not one of the relationships has lasted past a couple of months, maybe a year. Like, what is that saying about that situation? There's something that is not right with that person.
People older than 55, I want to know.
Yeah,
Let us know.
definitely let us. I don't know at what point these comments were posted, but we had somebody comment facts, another person commented communication, and then a third person said some people just can't handle the truth sometimes. And I think that, that's those are all, important.
But at least you're saying the truth. I think people love saying that people can't handle the truth. No, the truth hurts.
Right.
It hurts, but
Yeah.
you can't change that. But guess what? You can maintain your integrity because at least you're saying the truth.
Right.
You ain't lying, and people respect you for that. I can say, oh, he lied to me about this, that, and the other. But guess what? At least if he just lied to me, then I don't have respect. I don't respect that. But if he telling me the truth and it might hurt me a little bit, it might hurt. I'm gonna get over it. But at least I respect you for telling me the truth.
Yeah. I,
Honesty is always gonna be the best policy. I don't care how y'all put it.
I agree.
You
I
let that person make the decision whether they still want to be with you or not, whether they still want to build a life with you or not.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
can you say the truth and keep repeating the same pattern? No, that defeats the purpose of
Yes.
even being honest.
Like,
If you have a problem, you need to go get it fixed and then come back around, try to come back around when
mm,
you have completely healed. But you can't keep messing somebody over or just effing over them like it's all good. No.
because nobody deserves that. Like, my thing is like, don't play with me and don't waste my time. If we build in something, if we're growing something, if we're creating something, like, let's do it. But don't play with me. Don't take the good years of my life, or take years of my life, and then what do I have to show for it?
And I will be mindful of your time too. My time is important. Your time is important too. So instead of me leading you on, look,
Yep.
we gonna have this conversation. And instead of you leading me on, look, we gonna have this conversation.
And
And
that's
that's it.
it. And that's all really. And again, it's where the honesty comes in. If you're, at a point where you're feeling like, hey, this situation is just serving you any purpose, it's not enhancing your life, it's stressing your life, and you no longer want to be in that situation or that relationship, you have to have that conversation and tell the person, how you're feeling. And then, of course, there's things that you have to deal with, the fallout from that, them not accepting what you're saying, them not thinking that what you're saying is true, or them thinking that, I can get them back. 'Cause,
Then they're not the one for you.
yeah,
At the time, at the moment, they just not the one. You can't make nobody think anything. You can't make nobody believe you. You cannot make anybody do anything.
right.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Next.
Next. Like, I don't have time. And I've noticed, too, like, the older that I get, the more that I just don't have time. Like, when I was younger, and in my late teens and in my 20s, I just thought I had all the time in the world.
Well,
All-
that's when you was back 18. Like, no, and you know what? Some people are still older today and still play around. And I feel like you don't need to be playing. Like, just tell me what it is. You know,
right.
I'm gonna be okay.
Right.
Whatever is gonna hurt for a little while, and then I'm gonna be okay.
It's gonna sting for a minute, like ripping off that band-aid. It's gonna hurt for a little second, but
Like we should be all grown ups. and we should be past that. Like, we should be able to talk about anything.
Exactly.
You know, my mama just got mad at me the other day for telling her, speaking my mind.
Oh, really?
And I'm almost 40.
And she got mad
She
at you.
gonna be all right.
She gonna be all right because you were being honest, and so she got in her feelings because of what you said. Your in your honest moments. We have to have those honest moments, and if you think that you're going to be able to rekindle a relationship from the past, yes, it's possible, but you have to be 100% transparent. You have to be honest. You have to be vulnerable. You have to really really look at who that person has become and who they are, because honey, they're not the same. They're not the same person that you once fell for. They've changed ways. Life has changed them. Other experiences have changed them. So you have to look at that, pay attention to that, and focus on that. And if you could see yourself with that person after looking at them for who they are today, then go for it. If you want to have a second chance at love and claiming it and living in it and rejoicing in it, then I say do it. Don't be afraid, but you have to definitely be honest. You have to be transparent. You have to be vulnerable, and you have to be willing to accept that, that person is probably not the same. There's probably some different things about them. Their looks might have changed a little bit. Maybe they gained a little bit of weight, they might not, if y'all was used to going out to the club every weekend, Friday and Saturday nights, maybe you don't go out every weekend. Maybe you go out once every 2 weeks or something like that, so things that you were doing back then, you may not be in the same situation or same position to be doing now. Maybe now you have maybe now you have kids and you have
Now they may be financially responsible. Now, you know what I'm saying? They might be taking care of the way they look.
credit together. they they got their credit together. They don't got a car. They don't need to use your car and be gone all night, and then you
They
wonder.
may not no longer be codependent on you. Um,
So
they may no longer be insecure. You know, it's just so much. It's like it's so much. People change. You know what I'm saying? I think people change. If you one of those that don't change and don't grow, then I really do feel like there's a personal issue. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? You might want to get that checked out. But for the most part, I do feel like people don't be the same, especially if they had a chance to go out and be in other relationships, be with other people. You know what I'm saying? Then you circling back around. Look at, Ashanti and Nelly.
yep.
Maybe she didn't want to be with him back then because he was doing too much. Or she may have been the one doing too. We don't know.
No, but they found.
We always assume is the lady
Yeah,
that's going through the worst.
right, right. But they engaged. They having a baby. So it is
Yeah.
circle back. And Nelly said that he's the happiest he's ever been in any relationship. So he's
Yeah.
happy with Ashanti now more so than he was when they was first together.
And I think that when they came back together, they actually fell in love with the person they are now.
Exactly.
And that's just for me, outside looking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's different.
Wow.
So it
Yeah.
be it be different.
hmm But it's possible. So if y'all, have somebody on your mind or in your heart that you're wondering what they're up to or how things, might be today and you want to go for it, shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Yeah, you can't you don't know if you're going to lose unless you try. You don't know you're going to lose unless you try. And, life is too short to not try. And life is too short to not be happy. And I think life is too short to just go through this whole life and walk through this whole life by yourself. I think, as humans, I think we need, a partner. We need a teammate. We need somebody to, to have our back. And so, if you have the opportunity to do that with someone from your past, then I say go for it. No worries, be happy. I support it.
Hell, you might as well be. Ain't nobody else gonna be happy for you. Cause I can't be there being happy for you. But I'll be happy for you. But I'm just saying, who else gonna give you happiness if it ain't
Exactly.
I can't give it to
Right. I can't give it to you.
you.
But be there for you, but I can't.
Because people will be quick to say, don't you go back.
Mhm. They
But
do.
then I'll be like, well, what you gonna do for me? Like,
Right. I
don't let that be your own decision. Your own decision. Make it what you want to make it out of. Don't listen to people that, especially people that don't have nobody.
right. Yeah, you got to block out that noise. You have
I'm just saying, y'all. I'm not saying everybody like that, but some people are.
people are, and some
They're in a lonely stage, so we got to admit sometimes when we be in a lonely stage, you can maneuver some things.
do things and be a little manipulative and
Nobody want to be lonely like some people.
yeah. So if I'm lonely over here and she lonely over there, then we two lonely friends, and we could take a trip to Mexico or to the Bahamas or whatever and take a trip and blah 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 and do this and that and whatever whatever. But if you got lonely girl over there and you got your boo over here, y'all are going to Mexico and going on trips and traveling and having a good time. So she wants a partner. So she tried to make you her little partner, her little travel partner, her going out partner, her doing things with partner because she doesn't have one. So yeah, I've definitely experienced those kinds of situations. But to me, to each his own. Some people know that they want to be single for a minute to kind of get themselves together. I think that that's a smart decision. Other people know that, hey, in the end, I want a whole family. I want a teammate. I want to partner with someone. I want to be with someone. And, if that's what you want, then you have to go for it. I mean, ultimately, the topic was, is it possible to rekindle a past romance? The answer is yes, it is possible. But really,
People do it every day, y'all.
really diving deeper
They
into
just don't tell y'all about it.
that, but everything is all about making the making for yourself.
They do it every day. Even people who are married do it every day.
They sure do.
You just don't know.
Break up and get back there. Break up and get.
All right.
All right, y'all. Until next week. We'll be back next week with Dominique. Do you know what we're talking about next week yet?
Not yet.
Working on it.
Working on me.
Okay.
Hey, make sure you subscribe to Real Chill Conversations, share our videos, like our videos, and come on the podcast.
Email us or drop a message. Drop some
Yeah.
or
Be part of the we got to get a phone line. You know what? Because some people don't want to come on here and show their face. Maybe we could get people to call in
yeah, and they can do the audio.
anonymously.
That's a good idea. We'll have to work on that. All right, guys. Have a happy rest of your Saturday night and enjoy the rest of your weekend until next week. We'll see you then. Bye bye.
Bye bye.